Yes. Hey
Yes.
guys, what's up? Welcome to Friday Night Watch Chat. And we have a special guest, a friend of ours who is, in another part of the world in Europe, and he can't join in typically. He's showing off his Nomos. Very Wolfgang was very disappointed that Marcus is not joining us tonight. Maybe,
Right.
maybe, maybe if Marcus is watching and now he sees
Yeah,
Wolfgang flashing the Nomos.
trying
He'll
to get
come.
him there. I don't understand why he doesn't like Nomos. They're so
Yeah.
pretty. What's not to like about them?
I like Nomos too. Last year, and I'll do this, and then we'll go into the introductions. Last year, Watch Buys here in the U.S. they used to carry Nomos, and so I guess they decided to go their separate ways, Watch Buys and Nomos, and they had this bang out sale at the end of the year,
hmm
and they had some great deals. And I was in the process of shrinking down the collection because I was going to buy the Rolex. I was like, I had it in my mind. I'm going to burn everything. Get the Rolex that I never bought, and that I'm glad that I never did. I will buy eventually, but at that time, I'm glad. And I passed up on a couple of deals, a couple of Nomoses that were just great prices that I wish I had pulled the trigger on. Anyway, it's a good it's a
It
fine
happens.
watch. Um, Wolfgang, thank you for joining us tonight, man. We're so excited.
Glad to
Um,
be here.
yeah. So you're doing a little traveling. We'll get into that in a bit. Let us know, what are you wearing on wrist tonight?
I'm wearing the travel watch Seiko,
Yeah,
like a paddy diver. I don't know the reference
that's
number.
okay. Neither do most of us don't. Well, some of us
Yeah.
actually. There's probably some people who really
Yeah,
don't know
it's
all of them, but
kind
I
of
certainly don't.
paddy diver was actually one of my. It was the second or third watch in my collect. When I started collecting watches, it was an early purchase.
Okay.
About maybe what's 4 years ago,
Yeah.
5 years ago I started.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. And we'll get into that too, because I did not know that. I didn't know I assumed that you were collecting for 100 years
No,
already.
no,
No, no.
I've always liked watches, but
Yeah.
I got into collecting. I think it was 2007. I'll tell you the story.
Yeah.
You probably know how I got into it, but
Mhm. You got Joe. How you doing, man?
Hey, good evening. Good to see you. TGIF and
TGIF.
Wolfgang. Hello. Up
Yeah.
there.
What do you got on wrist this evening,
I
Joe?
have, well, I'll be curious to see what you have on your wrist because new to me is a
Oh,
903.
yeah. Good. That's
Yay!
awesome. That's
So not
awesome.
not not a modern one like yours. This one I think hails from like the mid 90s.
Is
So
is is that a manual chrono
it
too?
is. It's got
Yeah.
the Lemania
Manya.
1873
That's
in
great.
it, so it's fun. And this one is one of those like 24-hour dials, kind of
I
like the
love that.
Cosmonaut from Breitling. So yeah, it's fun.
So you got that from an auction, right? And
I
and
did.
and we know that, well, I've learned this from you. Um, bec- that auctions, typically, you expect that you're gonna have to send it out to be serviced, right? As soon as you get it, right? Typically with a auction watch. How's
Mhm.
that watch running? I mean, are you keeping track? Does it matter? Um,
If frankly, it usually it doesn't. It
yeah,
doesn't matter
yeah,
to
I'm with
me.
you.
Yeah, but yeah, usually you can kind of tell maybe the oils are a little dry when you try to
Yeah,
like wind these things, and they
yeah,
probably haven't been wound in a couple of years. So
yeah,
this one's kind of sticky, but I'll
yeah,
I'll keep working on it. But yeah,
yeah.
maybe in a year or two I'll send it in.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah.
I was gonna wear my 903 today, but I had the U50 on all day, and I just, I don't like wearing when I put the kids to sleep. I don't like wearing the 903 because my son will like to, like, mess around with it.
Yeah, they do.
So
They grab
yeah,
the pencil.
they love doing that. They love pushing the buttons and all that
That's
stuff.
right. Yeah.
So that's why I got the U50 on. Let's go into the chat before we talk to Wolfgang a little bit here.
how do I see the chat here?
So are you on your phone,
No, on the
on the
computer.
computer?
Ah,
So
Private.
it should be on your right hand side,
Okay.
right? You see comments.
Comments, yeah.
Click on that.
There they are.
There they
Okay.
are. Okay. Um, Megan, best part of Friday night is Bobby. Ah, you're the best, Megan. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Nefarian, how does an avatar? Okay, he's talking to Watch Related. What's up, Nefarian? ID guy, we're not in Kansas anymore. No, we are not. BDev, what's up? How are you? Justin's here. Joe is here. MST. Watch Habit, how you doing? First, Bobby Legs live stream catching live. Thank you, sir, for joining us. Jason, Design, how are you? Peter, what's up, my friend? Jeffrey Deach, hey, party people, watch nerds unite. Absolutely. We are uniting. Sands of
If
time.
you want to hear about the nerd issue, my wife is outside. I can ask her what she'll.
Your wife is dancing, listening to music, and you're in the
There's
in
an
the
opinion about the nerd thing.
yeah. Chaz, how are you? Mike, hello, sir. Clayton, Wilson. Let's go. Let's see here. Blue shirt, Bruce, how you doing? All right, I'm reading your comment, Oil Money. Let me just make sure it's okay. I got a picture of pina coladas over here. The live chat is about to get buck. Wow, well, I'll be
Nice.
censoring you, buddy.
Nice.
Oil Money had a good one on with Biden today in the Discord.
Oh yeah. Oh boy, I'll have to look that one up. Okay, Dan's here. How you doing, Dan? JCB is here. Riss Ross, Mr. Casio, how you doing, sir? And so forth. All right, so yes, wrong time watch. How you doing, Kevin? So Wolfgang, so you're typically, like I mentioned earlier, you're in Europe. You don't get to catch us live. I know you watch us afterwards. You put in comments. It's great, and we chat up on the super best friends watch. I always get that name. Super watch best friends, whatever. Discord. But you're in our hemisphere. Well, no, you're in our you're in our Western hemisphere.
Almost same time zone. They don't have summertime in Mexico, so it's 8.
Yeah. So you're in Mexico now. You're able to join us. I'm excited. So you plan this trip, 11-hour plane ride or however long it was. You're going to be here for a while. You're going to other parts of the continent as well. What do you pack? How many watches do you take? Which ones do you? Well, we saw the Seiko. We saw the Nomos. What else do you pack with yourself? What other watches do you have?
The music you hear is the karaoke.
Yeah, no, we don't. We're good.
I brought 4 for this trip, and some of my collection is in Vegas. Oh, hi, Amin.
Whoa.
Hey, well,
Congratulations.
oh, thank you. Hey, Rob.
Very good
hey,
looking
Joe.
kid.
Thank you, Wolfgang. Appreciate that. Very proud day.
Yeah, so I brought 4 watches, and part of my collection is in Vegas anyway, and so I brought the Seiko and 2 of the Panerai diamonds.
Very nice.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sweet.
Put the BMG on the white rubber,
Yep.
and this one is actually the first one in my collection, the 1389.
Mm-hmm.
And then I brought the Grand Seiko.
Very nice. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
That's gonna stay in Vegas because I don't have small watches there, so I decided I'm gonna bring it over there.
Cool.
Excellent. So you got the couple of Panerais, you got the Grand Seiko
for the humidity and the
sure
time.
Yep. You got the Seiko and the Nomos and the Nomos.
The Nomos is my wife. She only brought one.
Yeah.
When I asked her, don't you want to bring more? No. Why would I?
It's very sensible.
Joe saying congrats to Oliver for graduating high school today.
Thank you. Yeah, my oldest son, 18 years old, graduated high school today.
Hey,
He's
Joe saying congrats right
getting. My wife is dropping him off at a party right now. I'll be picking up
there.
late tonight.
All right.
Picking up the pieces.
Okay.
And he can't drink, right? He's not allowed to.
He's been given parental permission, so
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
that's why he's not driving himself.
Good.
He may still not drink, but at least he'll have the option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Risro saying here, Wolfgang and I are keeping Panerai and Nomus alive while in this group. Excellent. So people on the chat, let us know what you're wearing. Also, do a little experiment tonight and ask us kind of like anything in the chat. So if you want to put up a question here, ask us anything about what let's keep it watch related or maybe not. Oh, Amin's wearing. Let's see.
First check.
I love that one.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Very nice. Was that the one you were wearing today at the graduation?
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
I saw Oliver was wearing the Zelos.
Yep.
Awesome.
Very, very nice. So Wolfgang, so now you mentioned that like you only started collecting like in the last like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Did you have watches? I mean, were you just like a one watch kind of guy?
Yeah, mostly. I always liked them, and I remember one watch that was the Tag Heuer Formula One, I think it was called, or Kyrium. Remember the Kyrium, the black dial quartz watch?
I don't think so. Yeah.
I posted a few pictures in Tim's group, I think, but that's the first watch I can remember, and I probably bought it like in 1995, I think.
Uh-huh.
And so that was my only watch probably for 5-6 years, I think. And then I got a Breitling quartz watch in a sale that was like, to me, was like stupid money, $1,500 at the time. And I had that for a few years as an only watch. Then I remember I had a little bit of money, like $3,000 maybe.
Yeah.
That must have been at the time when we had the place in Vegas already. So I went to Tourneau in Vegas. They have a big store there. And I found 2 Hamiltons that were in my price range. Like one was $1,500, the other was $1,500. And so I thought, I could get 2 watches. I planned on getting one, but I found out, well, there's 2. So of course I'm gonna buy the 2. The one was even gold looking. It can't be real gold because $1,500. It must have been gold plated or something. So I bought the 2. My first mechanical watches were 2 Hamiltons, and those were my only watches for a couple of years again.
Sweet.
And then we got married, and instead of having a wedding ring, we bought 2 Rolexes. That was our first.
Nice.
My wife got one, and I got the Explorer 2. That was at a time where they, you just walked into Tourneau and they were sitting right there. So it must have been around 2015, maybe 14, 15. And I had the Explorer for a few years. And then the Sea Dweller came out, the Sea Dweller 43. And I wanted to have the Sea Dweller that was like, I like bigger watches. And so I thought that's the perfect. Submariners always seemed too small for me. And so that's why it was one reason why I bought the Explorer 2. And so when the Sea Dweller came out, I thought that's going to be my only watch. And I went into a store and I said, I saw this was released and I want to buy it now. And they kind of laughed into my face, and then I found out that it's something changed, and that's when my collecting really started, because I had to look up something else. Found Tim Mosso, and found out what's out there, YouTube, and started learning, and completely blew my mind. I always read magazines, but I never got into it that much.
Yeah.
And so I found out, oh my God, there's Panerai, I found this one. And I thought, how cool is this? This thing, Tim mentioned it, that it kind of, the rubber there, it's the wrist breathe, and you have that quick change system, and it's titanium, and I thought, oh, how cool is that? I forget the Rolex. I'm gonna buy the Panerai.
Yeah.
And basically that, led down the rabbit hole, and you know what happened after that.
we know
And
exactly what
COVID
happened.
came, and COVID completely
I
blew my
love
collection.
I love seeing the way you pick watches, the Wolfgang, and the variety in your collection. I mean, it's like there are a lot of people who couldn't get that Sea Dweller, and then just moan and for the next 2 years. Meanwhile, you're getting
Yeah.
all these great watches and a lot of different variety.
I remember going into in Vegas, I went in there, asked, and then I was back home and went to Vienna and asked about the Sea Dweller, and they had it because, European stores sometimes keep them in the back to show customers. So they showed me, but I couldn't buy it. And I remember even, telling the nice lady there, that I told her kind of the F word, I'm not interested in Rolex anymore, don't care, don't want it.
Yeah.
But by then, I already knew what was out there, and
And I think you were mentioning. I thought I heard you were starting to say how, like, in COVID, like during the quarantine, like your collection really has exploded.
I've probably I didn't count them, but 20.
Yeah.
Wow.
Could be 20. I counted last year was 12 with my wife. And this year I haven't counted them, but there's been a few already.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Couple Mosers.
Yeah.
And some really, really special watches.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I was just thinking we were all admiring that Infinity Onyx style GP.
Yeah.
You're the only one I know who bought one.
Yeah.
I've always admired that the Lange that you just got with the blue.
That was the last one. Yeah, that blew my mind. That I had no plan on buying relatively small manual wine, but that watch is unbelievable. So that was my last purchase, and now I'm on a kind of, COVID is almost done, and I told my wife no more watches till Dubai Watch Week in November. So that's the plan.
So then your answer to Dan here is no. You're not going to do any watch shopping in Mexico.
Well, I could look at something.
Never hurts.
Just looking. Yeah.
You can always go and look at something. Buy something.
Time Hill's wearing the Grand Seiko. Noor is wearing the 104. White Glove watches tonight. He's got the Squale 60 Atmos. Wei is wearing the Nomos in celebration with Wolfgang here.
Excellent choice.
The Barrio Salmon dial. Chaz has got his new Doxa.
Oh, I like that.
Excellent watch. Brute Bill's wearing the Oris. But what about Fortis? Fortis is a very intriguing brand as well. They got some nice looking stuff. I would love to get a Fortis in for a review one day. Zin 856 for Young XLNC. Megan, you're wearing the Moser Streamliner Funky Blue Chrono? Okay.
Oh, sweet.
All right. Colin's got his VC overseas. Sanjay's got the Speedy tonight.
That's a special watch that has a place in my heart, the Speedy, that, I hope he'll never sell it. That story was just incredibly cool.
Hey, Howard, thanks for joining us. Kevin's wearing the Casio World Timer. Joe's wearing the Alton Brown watch, the Weiss.
Very cool.
Bruce is the Bluesy. Ep is wearing the Rolex Pepsi. Let's see here. Roy the Tiger is wearing the Cooper. From Interstellar, which Sanjay has just watched. Just a report on
nice.
Sanjay's movies. He just watched it, so
Congrats. Good job, Sanjay.
He's seen as many movies as Wolfgang has watches now.
Yeah. Oh man. Wilson, smart wedding Rolexes. Yeah, that's a good one, man. That is a good one. Okay, so all right. So Colin with the first question in here. Question for the panel. What watch do you think is actually worth double the retail price? Ooh.
Meaning that's still existing in retail.
I guess let's just whatever parameter you want to.
I think let's include watches that you can't get right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, let's just include all parameters.
Anything.
Anything.
Yeah.
Steel Sports Rolex if you want, anything.
I would pay.
The base lane G2 is about what 7,000 euros right now. It's close. I don't know about double retail, but I could see it as a €10,000 watch.
Yeah,
it's reasonable.
Yeah, along those same lines, I think Bobby's Benzinger. I would pay easily double for that one.
I agree.
I mean, even like the discontinued the master compressor JLC that I like. I have 2 of those old sports models. If you ask me, easily, I mean, I don't know what retail was, but you can have them for 5, 6, 7,000, and compared to the quality and the build quality, everything about them, I would easily spend double that the gray market or the pre-owned price now. As far as I consider the quality about them.
Yeah, double the going rate and double retail are both interesting questions to consider.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because once it's gone, basically, there's probably a lot of watches that if you like them, there's no limit, to what I would basically spend on if the retail was 10K and it's 10 years old and it's discontinued for 5 and it's 20 now and I really like it, I'd spend the 20. The only reason why I wouldn't spend, 20 on a Submariner is because you can get them for 7 or 8, and 20 gets you basically Collins Overseas. And if you ask me, a Submariner and Collins Overseas, then it doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about a watch that's already double, triple the price? Maybe quadruple the price, right? Like I don't know if it's quadruple, but the Chronomat Blue, right? That watch, when it originally came out in retail, it was what, like around 20, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
It was, but now, I mean, we've seen it 4 times that, right? Is that watch worth double of what at least double of what it MSRP'd for?
Can we speak freely, or I mean, we need to consider the feelings of a group member?
No. I'm just doing. Yeah, I mean, speak freely. I mean, everybody's got his opinions, and I mean, Marcus has his opinions. You know what I mean?
Marcus speaks freely about
Marcus
all
speaks
of our
freely.
watches.
I mean, this is not. I think
freely about Nomos.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I look at it. Let's say it's 20, and now it's 60. I heard it's 100, but let's say it's 60. That's basically almost site work money. And to me, the answer is it's not even close to being, the CB is not even close in that range. So I would never consider it at that price range.
Yeah, I mean, and in Marcus' defense, I think he probably would agree with
it. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, but is it worth 40?
Worth 40. It's the tough bar to pass for any watch to be worth double retail price. That's a really tough bar, because I mean, most companies are pricing retail at the most they think you'd pay for their watch.
Yes, that's what I think too. Is once it's still available, it's a little weird, spending double, 3 times, 4 times. It's a little weird if it's gone, and if you consider it, a watch could have been at a great retail price 20 years ago, and because maybe it's sought after, it could have tripled in price and still be good value.
Yeah.
So I have one, and I'm not sure I'm right here, but the Kadoka, not Kadoka, Kadoka also, but I was going to say Ketelars. The Ketelars watches, I haven't handled one, so I may be totally wrong, but this guy makes less than 20 watches a year. He charges like 7,000 for a pretty complicated watch that he makes like almost soup to nuts himself, right? He's spending like a solid chunk of his year making it. 7,000 seems pretty cheap for that.
Exactly.
So maybe that's worth a lot more than retail, let's say.
Yeah. No, great question, Colin. It's certainly, I would love to have more time to think about that for sure. But good question.
Like let's his overseas, you could argue that it's worth double retail compared to what it is. And like Nautilus or whatever comparisons you want to make, there's definitely an argument if you really want it, and if you can get the blue dial. I don't know, the blue dial is probably 40 now, maybe 35, 40. If you really want it.
Yeah.
I feel like I can make an argument. I feel like I can make an argument that the retail of this watch is that they could have gone higher on the retail. Not double, but higher, not necessarily that it would be a good seller for whatever reason, but just in terms of what goes into the watch.
Yeah.
I think it's a value proposition.
Yep. Oil Money, a question for Bobby. Were you having a laugh when you told us you wanted a Seiko Flightmaster, or was that just irrational review exuberance that has since worn off like a bad acid trip? I did a review of the it's such a cool watch, and me and him were talking with Clayton just before the stream, and I was telling him that, that I'm gonna have I'm on a little break from buying watches for a little while, but I may want to scratch an itch here and there, and a G-Shock would be a watch that I would scratch the itch. I would scratch the itch with a Seiko Flightmaster. I think that's such a fun little watch for the price. I'd buy that watch, whole money. I call your bluff. Caliber also agreeing that watches instead of wedding rings, he loves it. Famous last words, that's going to be my only watch. Yeah, absolutely. True. If newlyweds want to give each other a Rolex instead of a ring today, they'd never get married.
Might be true.
Okay, let's see here. Claims I need to drive to Vegas to meet Wolfgang and go watch shopping with him.
Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Wolfgang is going all oil money on us.
What's that supposed to mean?
I don't know, but it's funny. Whatever it is. Hello, watch people. William Rizzo's here.
Hey, William.
Let's see. You never go all money. Okay. All right. Let's move on from that. Highlander, best movie ever. I love the Highlander. All the other sequels after that were just terrible, but the soundtrack was great with Queen doing the soundtrack. Just an awesome movie. You have Sean Connery. Just a great fun movie for the time. Like, it probably doesn't hold up as right. I mean, like, if you're showing that, like, if I'm going to show that to Mrs. Legs, like, she's not going to last like 2 minutes.
I watched it about a month ago.
Yeah, but if you haven't, if you have never watched it, if you've never, like, if you haven't loved it like I do, and you watch it now, you might be, but I love it. I can watch it all the time. Another question from Colin. What watch are you most likely to buy while drunk?
Ooh.
It's going to be something like hideous. I have a feeling like I wouldn't like buy like a something beyond my means because I was drunk, but it'd probably be something like really stupid, like some sort of like baby G shot or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it's like I could pass this up, pull this off, man. I'm secure with myself.
Better than an RM bonbon.
I don't know what that is, but
price-wise, I don't know what that is. It's one of
I
the
don't think
ugliest
so.
things ever made.
Oh,
It's like
yeah.
hideous.
It's very nice candy colored Richard Mille.
Richard Mille, yeah. Okay. What about you guys?
Never did it. Don't want to try it.
It would probably for me be the same kind of watch that I would otherwise buy, but I would just maybe get it from a less legit seller.
Yeah, right. Gotcha.
Yeah,
I'd be like, that deal looks like maybe it's real. I'm gonna go for it.
Don't
better
do that
not
again.
go online, when you're drunk. That's never a good idea.
Although I gotta tell you, I feel like Joe buys a lot of his watches drunk. Not like a slight against you, but I could see you like with a glass.
How can that not be
No,
against
I could just like with a glass of wine, just like clicking, just drinking.
Yeah,
That's Zen 903. It looks awesome.
Functioning alcoholic.
I realize I kind of don't throw a lot of these things out to you guys when I'm processing them, so that just kind of like comes up as like a message, like I send you guys, like, oh, I just did a thing, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. I probably do the same. I'd probably wind up with some other vintage diver if I were drunk, like Aqua Dive or another Eterna piece of crap. Yeah.
Why would Colin even ask the question? Maybe he did it already.
Yeah, I could see Colin getting having a couple of
Spill it,
whiskeys.
Colin. What happened?
All right, let's see. Any other questions? Well, Kevin's saying buy Doxa while drunk.
Good one.
Let's see here. Doc is wearing the 105. Love that unboxing. Joe. Oh yeah, Joe unboxed that Weiss. Anyway, ID guy, totally forgot that you'll be at the auction today. Oh, sorry. I feel like I'm like eavesdropping on personal conversations when I go through some of the shit. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Let's see here. Yachty. Oh, Jeffrey's wearing his Yachtmaster. Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you. All hail the King of Canada. Thank you, sir. I appreciate the super chat. Sorry, I'm catching up with the chat here, guys. Dan is saying nothing is worth double retail. There's always another fish in the sea. Leave it up to Dan to take like the big picture kind of look. He always keeps us grounded, I feel.
The way I read that,
that
question was not like about watches where you'd pay double retail because you can't get them, but just like which companies charged a lower retail than the watch is even worth. Like that, there's so much to the watch.
Yeah, no, I think I think the question was kind of very generic, so we could read it however we read it. When that question first came up, I just immediately thought of that FP Journe for some reason. Okay. Sorry, guys. Ask us anything. Questions here for Joe. Okay, it's only money, so let me just make sure. Okay. Ask us any questions here for Joe. What are some of the most acutely toxic watches you saved Amin and by extension his family from?
I think this question, maybe I saw that question earlier and I was mulling it. I think that question kind of extends to all of us, because I'm in sort of the ones that come to mind are not particularly. I think he has a good eye. I like the stuff that he looks at, the high horology stuff. But when he asks us about these like really cheap things that he wants to get just to scratch an itch, like a Chinese tourbillon, it's like
Yeah,
it's
right,
almost
right.
painful. That's when that hurtful, like, automatic, Joe thumbs down
These
comes
are like
out.
my G-Shock, equivalent. Like not like expensive G-Shock equivalent, but like I want to just get a watch.
It's the
Yeah.
itch.
They save me from buying a lot of those watches, and I guess my wife does too. She's just like, I've shown her a number of very inexpensive watches lately, and she's just been like, it's a waste.
Yeah.
Probably is, yeah.
Megan, exactly, P from that. So I'm sorry, Wolfgang. What?
For a guy with Amin's collection, probably better to stay away from the itch purchases.
You can't be toxic and itchy.
Yeah, I accept that.
Oh man. Hashtag Wolfgang wisdom. Megan, exactly, Pete from Not So Obvious Watches. We're both on the same page, and Dad is even mostly buying vintage at the moment to try to even the value of his collection out to cover depreciation. So whole strategies with the watch collecting for sure. Colin, I was not sure there was any. I am not sure if there are any that I think that is worth double. There might be some less expensive watches where I could see them worth double. I'm thinking of small independents, and I think you brought up a couple of those, Amin, for sure. All right. Nothing worth is double. There will be great another watch. A couple months. Right. Okay. Sorry about that. Anyway, guys, is still any more questions? Oh, we got a question here. Nor, which microbrand, if any, do you think will become a mainstream brand and be as prestigious as Rolex or Omega in 50 years? Well, I mean, like the first one that comes to thought is, and I know there's a couple of them, like Mido, not Mido. It starts with an M too. What the hell am I thinking of? Manta. Manta. I think at first, I mean, they may have been considered a micro brand for a while there, but they seem to be kind of like growing a bit. Zelos is another one that I think could be that. I mean, just because I just like the way the guy runs the business, and I think he's got bigger plans. Alshon does. I don't know if anything will be as prestigious as Rolex and Omega in 50 years. I mean, that might take like 100 years to kind of build up that kind of brand equity, compared to those brands, and they have such a leg up right now on everybody, reputational wise. What do you guys think?
I can't think of any
Yeah.
micro brand.
Very
Megan's
difficult.
saying Baltic or Baltic. They make nice looking watches, but it's hard to think that far ahead.
Yeah, I like the engineering that goes into Formex, the unfortunately named microbrand. Yeah, maybe if they rebrand and keep doing their thing, they'll have some legs.
They've been around for a while now. I mean, are they like a micro? I mean, I don't know. I mean,
it's weird that they've changed hands, and it feels like they operate kind of like on a micro brand scale.
Yeah. Okay. Colin thinks Corona could increase quality of the movement and increase production. They could be very successful given the leadership pedigree. Just ever, I got a Flightmaster to try it out. It's pretty cool. Ended up gifting it to my uncle. He was thrilled. Yeah, Flightmaster, fun watches, guys. Let's see here. Because we can always, Connor McLeod. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so we're not as getting as many questions, so maybe we'll switch over to some new releases. I don't really recall anything coming in this week so much. Nefarian, what is the least favorite watch you have owned? Problems with it aside. Mine was the Tourneau Gotham chronograph that I got bamboozled into buying instead of the Rolex Submariner back in January of 2007, and same cost the same as the Submariner at the time, and I sold it like 10 years later for $500. So that is my least favorite watch that I've ever owned.
Very, very good story too. Not Sanjay type quality, but almost.
right. No, there's no car accident, no women, babies crying, shouting.
Yeah.
What about you guys? I mean, have you guys had a least favorite watch? Like something that was so unfavorable that you remember, I hated that watch. Why did I buy it?
Least favorite maybe that I bought was the AP, the Royal Oak, black dial, the 15400.
And why was that, Wolfgang?
It's kind of it looks good, you know. I always liked the look of it. That's why I bought it. It was in the beginning of my collecting, but it's not really a sports watch. You know, you can't take it in the pool. It scratches like crazy. The accuracy was absolutely horrible. So it's kind of felt to me like it's only nice to look at. So I was kind of disappointed. Even, you know, it's not a watch that I hated or anything, but it was kind of disappointing in a way that I thought it'd be kind of, you know, an anchor point of my collection going forward, but was one of the few watches that I sold it too early, but that's basically the only one I could think of.
Yeah.
There are a few others that I kind of, in the beginning, that I bought, that I, you know, you could call it a mistake, is too small, and watches that I, you know, just bought for the itch. You know, in the beginning, I didn't really know what I liked that much. And, you know, I felt the itch, and I was in a store and it was there and it wasn't expensive. So I bought it. And like, I remember I bought an Oris, what are they called? Not the Aquis, the other divers, you know, the little smaller ones, like 40 mm, something, a really 65? Nice one. I think 65 exactly. Yeah. And I think I bought it and returned it the next day. You know, once I had it home in my condo, I felt like not really. So I went back and I asked for, you know, well, could I, you don't have to give me the money back, but maybe, you know, a store credit, I'll buy something else, you know, can you take it back? And thankfully they did.
Yeah.
My my Submariner was my biggest disappointment, and I think it's because I had such high hopes for where it would be in my collection, just like maybe Wolfgang did with the AP.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And when I got it, it just never sat right on my wrist. It's really a fingerprint magnet. It was every picture like seemed to have like a village of dust. This is really silly stuff, but around the Cyclops. And it just was uncomfortable, and it actually wasn't a great timekeeper. I mean, and it didn't matter to me, except that the specification was supposed to be so good, right? Like +2 to -2. And I think mine was like -6 or something like that, you know, straight out of the AD.
Interesting.
And the pip was always like a little bit to the left of center, which just bothered me. Again, I think I set myself up to think like this this was at a point in my collecting when it was the most I had spent on a watch, and I thought it was going to be like this amazing thing. And then, yeah, I don't know. It just felt very disappointing. And within about 6 months, I just started to think like, this is cash in my pocket. I could get something else for this. And then I kept it for another year after that because I felt bad because my wife was kind of in the store and sort of bought it for me.
Yeah.
She's very understanding. So
I bought the Panerai,
Yeah.
what's the reference number? I traded the Royal Oak, the 684, the gold submersible,
Mhm.
and absolutely loved it. Never regretted the decision, except that I should have kept the Royal Oak, a few years longer and made more
Yeah.
money. But unfortunately, the 684 is now in my wife's collection. So that's another
Women.
story.
Nice.
And
Joe,
the sub is obviously like a great watch, and a lot of people love it. And I hardly ever say any of the stuff I just said. I can't remember ever saying it on a stream. Not even the video I made about trading it. I didn't say these things, but anyway, it's truth. It's personal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really get the Submariner hype. It's something that I mean, all of the hype stuff I don't understand, but especially the Submariner, I never really got it. It's a good looking icon, no question. We watch everything, no discussion, but that it's a hype piece like that with all the other sports watches out there, I can't explain it. I don't get it.
how about you, Joe? Anything?
Probably Zodiac. This is really early on, and so micro brands were really on my radar more than the big brands because I was just dipping my toes in. And Zodiac has these wonderful styles from their past. They draw from their heritage, and they're beautiful. I think if you like 60s styles, 70s styles, they had really nice ones and very colorful in their reissues. And I think I had my expectations fairly low, but for some reason Zodiac, they couldn't even meet those expectations. You know, the bezel was wobbly. There's like mineral crystal covering it instead of sapphire, like a lot of other micro brands do sapphire on their bezels. The loom was terrible. I had issues with 2 calibers in the movie. Had issue with one, sent it back. They replaced it. Had an issue with the second one. They just couldn't get it right. And something that was really strange, that really infuriated me, was they sell some models with bracelets and some models with straps. So I thought, oh, I like the strap. It doesn't come with this colorway that they're selling. So I'll just order a separate one from Zodiac or whoever owns them. I guess Fossil Group or something. So they sent it to me, and then I found out that they make 2 different cases. The cases that they make for the watches with the straps don't fit their stupid bracelets. So I had a bracelet I couldn't attach to a watch, so I just tore my hair out. So I hated it so much. Of course, I have 2 now. But we'll figure out what to do with it. Maybe, I'll pawn them off on my kids.
Jeffrey asks, anyone into vintage? Would you buy or watch that KOV dude? I'm starting to be more receptive to vintage now, especially because I have this obsession with vintage Girard-Perregaux. That I don't own any vintage pieces, although my one Girard-Perregaux is about 15 years old, so that's getting close there to technically vintage, right? But I think I see that in the next year or two. I'll be picking up some GP vintage pieces for sure, especially because the prices are good and I love the brand.
Yeah.
Anybody else on the panel? How do you feel about vintage, Wolfgang?
What's the KOV dude? Is that a YouTube channel?
I guess so.
Don't know him.
Yeah.
I I mean, real vintage, it's difficult. So anything, kind of from the 80s, I would go down. I would feel better, if it's not older than, let's say, 2000, 2001-ish.
Yeah.
As far as, I have no experience.
Hmm.
The only knowledge I have is from, what I hear you guys talk about, or, some other YouTube videos. And probably, a whole different thing. If you get into it, you really have to get into it, get a lot of knowledge and know what you're doing, and,
Mhm.
why you're buying it. And, it's, I haven't really found any pieces, that would get me on that road. So I tend to stick with, anything that's more robust still. I can
Yeah.
take it to the pool and not have to worry about anything. As like I said, I'm just talking about what I hear you guys,
Yeah.
talk about vintage and the dangers that could be involved.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You got some vintage. Well, you got some vintage pieces, Joe, right?
Yeah.
So you're not opposed to.
No, I think it started a few years ago when I tried to um, overhaul my dad's old Seiko, like 42 years old at the time, never had a service.
Mhm.
And so I sent it over to Spencer Klein thinking if anyone's going to do it, he's the
Yeah.
Seiko guy.
Yeah.
And he said that it looked spectacular inside. It was
Hmm.
it was a real workhorse, despite my dad really wearing it every day for decades.
Wow.
So yeah, I guess it took a little of the fear out of vintage for
Mhm.
me. If this cheap little Seiko that my mom gifted to him in '76 could survive and be looking so good, then I'm not too worried about other stuff. But like Wolfgang said, then the whole issue of researching and making sure you don't, trying to make sure you don't get screwed too bad.
Yeah.
That comes into play. So if I were looking at vintage, I kind of right now I'm my level of risk tolerance ends at looking at like kind of the bigger auction houses
Mhm.
where I have a little more faith that someone's like looking over these pieces and they
Yeah.
know those sellers or consigners.
Gotcha. Makes sense. How about you, Amin? Oh, you're on mute.
Like up to 20 to 25-year-old watches, I feel pretty comfortable with.
Yeah.
And then real vintage, like 70s, 60s, those kinds of watches, I'm a little
Mm.
more hesitant. I
Yeah.
went through a period of buying a lot of old Seiko divers from the 70s, and I actually learned to spot good ones. I learned all the tells, not just their divers, but Pogues and Willards and all that stuff, and ended up with some good ones. Sold them cheap. But at one point I just basically boxed up at, I don't know, maybe 10 watches and sold them to Uncle Seiko just in a lot, just because I needed to clean house. But
Yeah.
so I feel like you can get to a point where you learn you learn them well enough that you're comfortable spotting things or knowing who to buy from, but it takes some work, some studying.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
ID guy calling in an evening, everyone. Wolfgang, you are a legend, great humor, and love the story of your horological meanderings. Have an excellent show. Oh, thanks, ID guy. He's probably already asleep, getting ready for his marathon tomorrow. Williams chiming in with Zelo says probably a micro brand. Baltic, as was said before by Megan. Thank you, Megan. Rich Ross Ming. Okay. Let's get back to the
I saw a
chat.
question from Wilson. I think you asked about how the Royal Oak, how it's wearing on the wrist. I would say, like Tim says in his videos, it wears a little bigger than the 41 was supposed to be. maybe like an Explorer 2. But it's not really a big watch either, you know. So if he wants one, you know, I'm sure it's gonna be fine on his
Yeah.
wrist.
Yeah, this is Wilson's question over here. Noor, recommendation for a sports watch under 2K.
2K.
Well, something sporty. I mean, there's so many to choose from, right? When I see that, I think something that I can wear every day. Like I would go, you know, Damasco, a DC30. You know, you have the submarine steel and the Damasco and great tech, and you could probably find one of those pre-owned for like 800, 900 bucks easily. That's not like, it's not a diver, but it does have 200 meters water resistance. It's more of a pilot kind of look, but much tougher, obviously with the water resistance. I like German watches, so of course that's what I'm thinking. But there's plenty of Zins that you can get pre-owned, especially that that can fill that bill. What do you guys think?
Tudor might be, some Tudor might be in there, right? Some Oris might be in there.
2K.
Some of the, you know, the not the black base, but other Tudor might be in there.
Yeah.
Colin said Doxa, you know, Doxa, I think there's some models under 2K.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, no, there's great stuff out there for sure.
Yeah. The Mido I have was like 1K, I think.
Yeah.
That's
I was thinking Mido, Sortina, Mido.
Yeah.
Hey Thomas, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
There's so much out there in the watch world, you know, that's why the hype doesn't make any sense to me. It's really strange why, you know, the whole social media train got that focused on a few models, and now the whole world is going crazy, you know, 30K Daytona steel model and Nautilus 100K, while everything else is available, you know, and it's sitting there, and what's the difference? I mean, why do you have to own a Nautilus if you can't get it? You know, it doesn't make sense to me. In any price point, doesn't matter where you look. If you look at 1K or 100K, it's.
Yeah. Speaking of 1K, I'm on this group called Moda Watch Club 5K and Under on Facebook. It's a kind of like people resell watches to each other. There's a Longines Legend diver on there for 1,000 even, which is great price, great sports watch under 2,000.
Yeah. Forgot Longines. Yeah, Longines is probably
Longines
right up there. Yeah. I'm getting one, you know, the bronze diver.
Yeah.
It doesn't count. The bronze diver does not count, you know, what I said that I'm not buying until Dubai Watch Week, because I already bought it.
Right.
In Vienna, it's sitting there, so it doesn't count. You know, don't give me.
How many of those, Wolfgang? How many of those do you have?
No, it's only this one.
Okay.
One for my wife that doesn't count either, because it's for my wife. Good. So I don't want to hear anything about, you know, that I broke my promise, you know.
All right. You got it. The record is straight. God. We have it here. It's going to live in perpetuity in YouTube history.
If you want to have a wager, you know, I'm up for a little wager. You know, if you think I can do it, funny. You know, I'm open to suggestions. You know,
All right, I got another one on Moda 5K and Under. There's a IWC 3706 Pilot Chrono for 2,000 even, which is another good 2,000 and under value.
Getting back to vintage, Megan says, my main focus is vintage watches. I have studied since I was 14 years old and collected, including military and World War Dirty Dozen watches. I trade, sell, and wear them as well. I know Megan is definitely an expert on vintage if you have any questions. She's a good one to ask. Clayton, my father's 60s Accutron is still going. Service once. Awesome.
There you go.
Wow. Impressive stuff. Unbelievable.
Bell and Ross. Can you get Bell and Ross under 2,000 if you go
some,
pre-owned?
I think. Yeah.
I think you can.
I mean, I've seen even Omegas. I've seen, even at a big like watchbox dealer type with warranty and everything. I've seen some Omega models for 2K. A little older maybe, but not too old, and
Breitling Endurance Pro is the pre-owned are getting down close to 2,000.
The one that you had?
The one that I had, pre-owned. They're getting close, low 2000s.
Wow.
I've seen.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like that watch. I was kind of sad when you let it go. I'm always sad when you guys sell.
we get sad when each other sell too.
Yeah.
When I say I'm going to let go of something, and in the chat, I get the sad face.
Yeah.
From,
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a little strange.
We're strange.
With Colin, though, I feel like I'm always catching up. Like when he lets things go, he's just like constantly. He's just like, he loves the action.
Yeah.
Roar the Tiger, Bobby Legs. According to the Timeless Watch channel vid released tonight, Rolex steel cases are not made in-house, and it's the principal reason for the shortage. I thought they made everything, even the cases in-house, but I could be wrong. And I thought the shortage was mainly because, they were focusing more on Asia. I mean, I'm no expert. I don't have any. I'm just going by from what I hear from people, and that they haven't increased production per se. It's just more people want them, right? But I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I have, from talking to some of the ADs that I know and other collectors, the so-called shortage, the made shortage that Rolex kind of is behind it all and keeps it tight. I'm not 100% convinced that is the case. It's just, the demand is just look at our watch groups. Wherever you look, it's everybody wants them for whatever reason. And even for Rolex, you can't, up production from 1 million to 2 million, even if you wanted to within a year or two.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work. And why would they? I mean, as long as the ADs, obviously the ADs don't have the power to make them. They would want to, obviously. I mean, talk to any of, if salespeople in Rolex, you hear the same story. They're fighting customers basically every day. Somebody's walking in the door, I want this, and all they can say is sorry. But of course, they all want to make the sale.
Kevin with a low blow. The shortage is due to all the steel being used to produce Tornado Gothams. Man.
I think I looked it up when you told the story. I looked up the watch, or you showed it maybe?
Yeah.
I showed it, man. I showed it.
It wasn't that bad looking watch.
No, it wasn't. No. Imagine if somebody would have been there with a video camera and filmed, Bobby being talked into it, or maybe Sanjay, after the accident, swimming in the house, going to the AD. That would have been fantastic videos for the ages.
And it still stings, man. It still stings. You learn, you remember your losses more than your wins, right? So they say,
Who cares now? It's all over.
No, absolutely. I don't. I mean, I still do care.
Sorry, you should have kept it.
I should have. I really should have kept it. I mean, I should have just kept it just as something that you shouldn't do. This is not this. You know what I mean? Like as a warning.
The sad part is that you got talked into it, because if you actually liked it the best that day, then that's a happy story.
Well, I only liked it because it was 1 out of 499. That's the reason why. That
Oh.
was the clincher for me. Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I thought it was okay.
Mhm.
I just was like, ooh, it's 1 out of 49. I'm special,
Yeah.
you know?
I was thinking about Wolfgang. You texted me when I was in Torno to look at the Bucher flyback chronos, right?
Mhm.
And those are beautiful chronographs,
Yeah.
like the gold ones, especially, really beautiful. And I think those are an example. They're not like the one that you bought, Rob, with the 1 out of 499, but they are one that probably drops a lot on value, right? But if you go in and that's the one you want, it can be a happy story, especially if you keep it.
Yeah. It's very good looking watches. If I was more of a chrono type guy, that'd be very high on my list. It's not that expensive, especially the gold one with the black dial.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous looking watch. This get some good discount, or even if you find it pre-owned.
Yeah. I don't know why they don't come up very often in conversation.
No, I
'Cause
don't know
they're
much about the quality, but
they're really beautiful.
yeah.
And
got
I had
some-
a Bucher watch once, and the quality was very good.
Yeah, I mean, considering who Booker is in Europe, it's a powerhouse. So I would
Yeah.
expect that the quality is pretty good.
Baron's saying the Black Gotham may have cost as much as a sub, but it provided an entire education in horology. Not a total loss. Well, I mean, it's easier said. Someone.
That's why I'm kind of grateful. I'm always thinking that without Rolex shortage, I
Yeah.
might never have started collecting.
It's
If I
true.
would have been able to get the SD43, I might have just bought it and never found out about the whole watch world, and never. I mean, you could argue that it would have been better, but
Nah.
Megan, take care. Have fun at the auction. Yes, he was a great salesman. Yes, he was.
Was it what color was the dial?
It was
Don't do that.
it was
Was it
some
like a
it was
tuxedo
called the Aurora, Gotham Aurora something or other. Kevin S, thank you for the super chat. Gotham rebuy. It's probably worth $5 now, so I could probably buy it with that super chat. Thanks, Kevin. It's probably dropped from 500 to 5 in the last couple.
Was it what do you call it? The starry
Yeah.
what's that
Yeah.
material called?
It was some sort of like meteor. It was some sort of like rock that had like some. I don't know.
It's what do you call it?
Anthracite?
Goldstone, right?
Goldstone. Oh.
It's
Maybe I don't know, man. I don't
All
know,
right.
man. I don't know. I'm sorry. I just don't know.
all right. I think it might have been a good watch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure it was a 7750 in it.
Okay.
Had that wobble. I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything about watches also too at the time. So that's why I was pretty much, you know.
Yeah, I've got it pulled up right now. That's a beauty.
Do you guys just want to share it again? You guys, let's just share it. You have it pulled up, Joe? Let's share it. Let's just take another look at it.
Oh goodness.
Yeah,
this
that's it.
That's it. Oh,
That's it, man.
it's great.
it's not super pretty.
It's not the worst though.
It was
It's not the
huge.
worst by far.
It was huge.
It's got the whatever kind of stone that is, the sparkles.
Yeah.
It's good looking.
Yeah.
In a
I wish I was there.
41 millimeters.
I like the Breguet type, the
The lugs.
Yeah, the lugs.
Breguet. So that looks. That's probably.
Oh yeah. There you go.
Conjuring up a lot of Jesus Christ.
Open case back. Nice.
Guilloche skeletonized rotor.
Gotham.
Oh, kind of Batman looking.
Bobby legs, not bad. I
Yeah,
like
not the worst.
No, that's fine.
Okay, I'm good. Okay, sorry. I'll
Definitely
take
not,
mercy
not
on
as
everyone.
ugly as the bonbon, the RM bonbon.
What year was that, Rob?
2007,
2007.
January, the last weekend of January 2007. I know that because I got married the first weekend of February 2007 to my ex-wife.
So you've been collecting since about 2007?
I mean, I had a couple of watches. I wouldn't have called myself a collector. I mean, I had my GP and my Panerai before this. But then around that time, that's when the economy here in the States took like a big crap. And then like I wasn't collecting for a while. Yes, 2007 was a bad year.
Yeah.
Right out of the gate too. Yeah. Well, guys, it's 10 after 10. What a way to end this great chat. Was just bringing up, conjuring
Sorry.
up. No. I need to be reminded of this. This is.
I don't think
I
it's
need to
too
be
bad.
reminded me of where I was at one point. You know what I mean? Thanks, Kevin. I am in such a better place. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. It's less attractive. Hoopla. Okay. All
It's
right.
not too bad. I'm thinking if you had got the sub, right? A 2007 sub. It's not like you could have got, you almost got, I don't know, something.
Oh, by the way, I want to show Amin something because he wasn't there in the beginning. See, the bezel looks like perfectly aligned, doesn't it?
Looks perfect.
Right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Did you like balance it between the
Yeah.
clicks?
Just for you, I tried so that it looks pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I recommend the Seiko.
So
That's a nice
Wolfgang,
one.
you're in Mexico. You're gonna be there for a couple weeks, and then you're going to Vegas.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll be chatting
Yeah.
much more. But enjoy your trip down there in the sun.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It was great fun.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, and Thomas, thank you. Great to see Wolfgang on the show tonight. Please come again. Here's something towards Marcus's internet fund. Still paying dividends, that Marcus dividend fund. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you so much.
Yeah, let me know when Marcus comes on again. If my wife is near, I have the normals for him.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, if you're going to be in Mexico for the next 2 weeks and then Vegas for however,
we can work him over. We'll
yeah.
get him there.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe, any plans this week? Anything coming up?
No plans. No plans. I'm just tracking UPS. Not to
Yeah,
be vague.
me too. I am also tracking UPS.
Wow.
Yeah. Amin.
You guys are just going to leave it at that? Both of
Yeah,
you?
absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Do
both
I
tracking
know
UPS.
about these, or is this total? Is this
I don't
going to
know.
be a surprise to me?
Maybe.
No.
All right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right.
Graduation dinner? Was there a graduation dinner? Is that
Tomorrow
gonna
we're
be
going to have
tomorrow?
a graduation lunch.
Yes. Olive Garden? What's up? Where are you going?
We're hosting.
You're hosting? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
My parents, family. Yeah.
Nice. Excellent.
It'll be good.
Well, guys, Sunday, join Sanjay and I for the Watch Soup, where we discuss topics during this week. Just Sanjay and I this week. That's what it's going to be like for a while. And guys, have a great weekend. Again, Wolfgang, thanks for joining us. And we'll see you guys next time. Yeah, there's the mug.
Thanks, Wolfgang.
That's awesome.
Love it.
Take care, guys.
Yeah. Cheers.
Bye-bye.